Welcome back to our how-to series on the Climatiq Excel add-in. In this video, we'll look at how to calculate activity-based travel emissions across air, rail, or road, all within Excel. Our travel methodology supports both activity-based and spend-based approaches and uses trusted and vetted emission factors directly from our Data Explorer. Our methodology has been verified and audited by a third party for compliance with the GHG protocol, carefully taking into account upstream and use phase emissions, as well as emissions per passenger for added accuracy. For air travel, our calculator outputs flight emissions based on emission factors from the UK government, which incorporates a multitude of factors such as fuel type, luggage weight, distance travelled, and ground operations. We will also handle the radiator forcing index, consider the hull type, cabin class, and year when making calculations. For road travel, estimations are based on car size and distance travelled. A range of fuel types are also considered, for example, diesel, petrol, electric, and more. We use a routing algorithm for accurate distance calculations, handling road closures and alternative routing where needed. For train, we use a routing algorithm through rail networks, and estimates are based on distance and electrification rates for the specified country of travel. To get started, you need to download the demo file from our website. Let's look into air travel first by opening up the air travel sheet. Suppose we wanted to calculate the carbon emissions of flying from Prague Airport to Berlin in economy class in 2024. We can start by entering the start and end destinations. This can be anything from a simple address to airport codes to even coordinates. We will enter the airport codes in this example. The next three columns are optional, so you can leave them blank if you don't know the answer. We do, however, recommend filling in as much detail as possible for accurate results. The flight class you can choose between average, economy, business, or first class. The more fancy the class, the higher the carbon impact. Let's put economy for now. Lastly, we set the year to 2024 and show details to true to see an extensive breakdown in our results. We now need to use the air travel climatic formula. We can access this by clicking the equal sign in the CO2e column and selecting the air travel formula. We can select our input data, separating the inputs with a comma or semicolon. We can close with a bracket and hit enter. As we can see, we now have calculations for the overall CO2 equivalent emissions and the distance between start and end destinations. Looking at the rest of the results, it also calculates the emissions that are direct, for example, from fuel combustion, or indirect upstream emissions. Lastly, there's information on the applied emission factor, with additional classifications and considerations that were made when performing the calculation. The notices column will also return any irregularities or assumptions made when doing the calculation that could potentially skew the calculation results. As a time saver, if you have multiple rows of flight data, you can simply pull down the rows to do a batch calculation. Moving to rail travel. The logic is the same, we simply use a different formula for the calculation. You would enter the start and end destinations of the journey and year of the trip. The difference is we use the travel rail formula instead of air. As always, we now can select our inputs, close with a bracket, and hit enter. We once again get the final CO2 equivalent value, the distance between start and end, direct and indirect emissions, source and methodology used, and any notices. For batch calculations, just apply the formula to all the rows. Lastly, let's look at road travel. For road travel, you can get granular by adding not only basic start and ends, but also the car type and fuel. You can choose between small, medium, large, or average car size, and from a variety of fuel sources. The most common options, of course, are diesel, petrol, hybrid, and battery, but more fuel type options, you can check out our documentation in our website. Let's calculate. We now use the travel road formula. We can then select our inputs as usual, close with a bracket, and hit enter. We can now see our output results, and for batch processing, you can just pull down for speedy calculations and all your road travel journeys. That's all you need to know about activity-based road, rail, and air travel calculations using Climatiq's Excel add-in. To learn how to make these calculations using spend-based input data, please watch the next video in this Excel how-to series. I'll see you in the next video.